Hi guys, thanks for tuning in again to our Smack podcast. We hope you enjoyed this new video, and if so, please share your love below and subscribe to our channels. But now, without any further ado, enjoy the show.
But mostly, I get inspired working here. And I've always been inspired working in the middle of what we do.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Smack Hospitality Podcast. Season 3 is on the way. This is the first episode of Season 3, and boy, is it a special one. For this episode, I spoke to Michael Levie of citizenM here at the citizenM in Amsterdam, and Michael and I talked about the journey of citizenM from the first property in 2008 to becoming a unique and respected hotel brand. We also discussed why the hierarchy structure of citizenM is totally different to other hotel companies, what Michael's current favorite citizenM pipeline project is, and how travel has evolved. Enjoy Season 3, enjoy this episode with Michael, and as always, enjoy the show. So, Citizen Michael, thank you very much for being on Smack, first of all, and for being a part of this. Michael, when I did my homework on you, and I asked some people that you've spent some considerable time with, both with cold beverages and without, they told me that you're probably the most authentic guy we can speak to the industry. So, if I've never heard of citizenM, give me the authentic answer. What the hell is citizenM?
Well, I think citizenM is a hotel like any other because we put heads in beds.
Okay.
So let's be honest about that. But I think that most hotels are created with an ideal and with a vision. And I'm not saying that we don't have a vision or an ideal, not at all. But what we did, instead of it being our ideal and vision, we listened to a specific target audience. And what is that target audience needs? And if you're a frequent traveler, and you're always on the road, you know exactly what to expect of what you need from a hotel. And what we try to emulate is exactly that. So focus in on the target audience and offer 100% of what they need, which to any other target audience will look as less than 100%. Only to them it's 100%. And because you completely adjust it and fine-tune it to their needs, you can offer, believe it or not, at a great price, at a very high guest satisfaction, and it just becomes a very logical proposition. So we, for a frequent traveler, are phenomenal, and they walk in and they like the friendliness, they like the atmosphere, they like the limited services that we offer and how we offer them. They love the room, they love the styling, they love the art, they love the music, they love a lot of things that we do. But it's their target audience. It's that little space. For other people, they walk in here, it's like, I cannot even get a rollaway bed. I cannot get a crib for my baby. I cannot have, and the list is very long.
Yeah.
And the answer is that we're saying to these people, no, we're not the answer for you. We're only the answer for a specific target audience.
When you thought about this, and when you wrote this down the first time, was there a way that you, in a way, Michael, maybe willingly accepted to exclude some parts of the potential target groups out there at the benefit of being 100% what another target group is looking for? Is that maybe one way of?
Well, I think it was influences of the partners.
Okay.
So the senior partner in citizenM is Ratan Chada, and he came from retail. And if you create a garment or something to wear, you better know for who you're creating it. Because if you create a skirt for men in their 70s, maybe you're not going to sell too many.
It's going to be difficult, yeah.
So they are much more focused on what is my target audience looking for, and how do I influence that, and how do I play with that. And you have a different type of focus that the traditional hotelier would take. And I think that we as an industry are unfortunately rather undereducated. So we miss a lot of academic intelligence to guide us.
Yeah.
And as such, by experience, we learn a lot, but not necessarily are we very good at articulating what it is that we want. So there's a lot of outside vendors, whether that is technology, or whether that is architects, whether that is developers, anybody from the outside starts dictating what it is that we need. And that we sort of start running with it instead of being able to turn it around.
So let's talk about the hospitality industry then for a second, Michael. How well are we doing as an industry, in your opinion, in all fronts? Because undereducated is one part. There's the nimbus which is also something that you guys have done very well here with citizenM, is the whole idea of technology. Let's be honest, technology is not something our industry is particularly, fond of, or has been certainly until COVID came around, maybe. Is there some groundwork that we need to do as an industry to maybe catch up to some other industries, like, for example, retail?
Well, I think that as an industry, we have not evolved. So we're sort of more forward. So it's sort of, you float and you go with every wave. And
whatever pushes you.
Whatever pushes you. So it's not with intent, it's not with focus, it's not with purpose. And if you all of a sudden in our industry see intent, focus, and purpose, call it Airbnb, call it Booking.com, call it anything else, all of a sudden everybody goes, oh my God, what's happening? Yeah. Well, those are people that take advantage of technology or of changes in the marketplace, and we're not. Mm-hmm. So if you're complacent, then there's not a lot of change. And I think that is something that we as an industry are experiencing. And a pandemic like this is weeding out a lot of problems. And unfortunately, there's a lot of pain that goes associated with it, because there's a lot of people that give their life, their passion, their emotion to it. And unfortunately, that's not good enough. And it's very painful to see people get stranded or companies get stranded. But I think it is a self-inflicted wound, unfortunately.
Yeah. Tell me your take on the pandemic then, because you touched on it briefly. You said some self-inflicted wounds, and it was logic that the pandemic was going to hit some people harder and some companies harder than others. Is that maybe a good thing, Michael? Because it you see what I mean? Because it kind of gives us the chance to see what actually works.
Philosophically, yes.
Okay.
But if you see the suffering that it brings
goes
along,
with it,
then my heart crunches, because there's so many people that are so badly and so negatively impacted that hurts me. And I also believe that this is an optimistic industry. People are so willing to get up and serve every day. So it's not that it is a bad industry or that the industry is in a bad shape. It's just that we as an industry could do so much better if we would have more focus. Yeah.
I read a thing or two about citizenM and also how the story came about and the properties you have and so on and so forth. When you come into a citizenM, and I know that we're fortunate enough to be in one right now, what's the first thing that comes to your mind today? Because you were involved right from square one in most properties. Tell me what comes to mind when you walk in the front door.
Well,
do you feel home? Is it just another day at the office?
No, it's not another day at the office. It's like I'm home in every citizenM, the same way as I'm home in my own home.
Right.
So it's walking in. This morning I walked in and I see the team that I know well. They know me well. We are thrilled to see each other. We quickly say hello, or it is. You observe everything. You observe the people working. You observe the people that need to be served or are taking their breakfast or their lunch or are just a part of the hotel scene. So it is more like it's like in a warm bath. You sit in and you sort of absorb what's going on.
Right. But
mostly I get inspired working here. Right. I've always been inspired working in the middle of what we do. So I get to spend a lot of time on my own work and my own focus as well, so I don't have to get involved with the day-to-day at all.
Too much, fair enough, yeah. Now, when I looked at the hotels, Michael, I want to get your opinion on the Facebook campus property and what comes with that. Tell me why that. I mean, there's surely that's no coincidence, because Facebook is a company that stands for certain things where I see one or two things that you guys stand for as well. Can you give me your take on that?
Well, we were talking earlier a little bit about our target audience, and a frequent traveler, usually are mostly driven for business, that they travel frequently, but also a lot for leisure, or that they combine. And if I would look at a audience that is particularly comfortable with us, it would be the tech world, because they walk in here and our living rooms look like their workspace.
Right.
And their bedroom or use of technology here, or whatever, it is seamless. So they don't even know that they're somewhere different. And actually, that started very early on when we opened up our first property at Schiphol. I remember Microsoft had just opened a very cool office at the Schiphol campus, and they came to us and they didn't know whether they were at the office or were at citizenM.
Yeah.
So being out on the West Coast. In Los Angeles, where we opened last week, in San Francisco, where we will open up later this year, having hotels open or a hotel open in Seattle and another one under development, and then you mentioned the Facebook campus in Palo Alto. Yeah, it is for us being in the center of people getting what it is that we do, and we see that all of a sudden they find us in London, they find us in Paris, they find us in Zurich and Geneva and Copenhagen, and all of a sudden, all those other places where we're at, it becomes very logical for them all of a sudden to work with us. And I think that as you grow as a brand and you get recognized by a certain traveling audience and they get what you do and it is seamless, then all of a sudden
things click.
It clicks. And the second thing is consistency. Mm-hmm. So we have been running 92.5% guest satisfaction for the past 10 years, as long as we started measuring it. And since we started measuring the NPS, the Net Promoter Score, we're, in the 57, 58 to 62, 63 range, which is ridiculously high and consistent. And I think that is what we're very proud of, is that there is a brand that they find the theming and our positioning in each city unique, but they have an affinity with the brand, and that's cool.
So let's talk about the brand. The citizenM brand within hospitality. Some of the things that it stands for is very obvious. The modern aspect of it, and so on and so forth. How important, in your opinion, and I was told to ask you this, and I think it's a great question for someone like you. How important is the brand, Michael, today, as opposed to everything that's happened in the past couple of months with COVID, as opposed to the fact that, supposedly travelers are less loyal. And then you guys come along and say, well, hold on, we can create a product that's not very much like other hotels, and we can create our own sort of style of loyalty.
Well, I think this most probably illustrates best what we were talking first. If you look at brand in our industry, we have companies with 20, 30, 40 brands. And that's just a logo and a name. There's not really a story behind it. There's no consistency behind it. There's no promise that gets delivered. We came from the point that if you try to become a brand, and there's only very few in our industry, if you want to try to become a brand, then it's a promise to the people that frequent you, and the people that have an association with your brand. And that brand is like an affair. So it's about scent, about music, about friendliness, about consistency, about use of technology, everything that encompasses the brand. And I think that for us, that means everything. So we're very brand focused. And the reason also that we own and operate, so we develop ourselves, is that we can have full control over that brand. Yeah. So I think that everything we do is brand. So brands for us sits in absolutely every detail, whether that is development, whether that is the configuration of a hotel, whether that is the type of food we serve, the uniforms, the outing, the conversation we have. It lives everywhere.
Just on a side note, Michael, what would you tell those companies with 20, 30 brands and you don't know that probably there's at least 4 or 5 where you could say they're very similar, to say the least. What is somebody like you who's come from a concept that stands for something that is a standalone brand with a promise, and you see the development that you've had? What would you tell those guys? I mean, imagine you're in charge of those brands. Is there a solution to that other than merging? Because there's no way you can tell me that you can actively create a brand for 30 different brands or even 20.
Or even somewhere not very good at one.
Very true.
I think that it has become a vocation. It has become what it is that we do, and it's not the people that started it. It's a large group of culture carriers, and they are right now the brand. And So our line staff are called ambassadors. That's no coincidence. No corinky-dink here. So they are called ambassadors because if you walk in, they are the company. So you just walked into citizenM.
They've been great here.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm sure that there's a smiling face that comes to you and says, Jesus, you have a lot of luggage with you. How can I help you?
That is literally the first sentence he said to me. Yeah.
Exactly. And do you want to drink something?
Yeah.
What can I get you? Not do you want something? What can I get you? So there's just a different mentality. And that comes from the core that oozes into every tentacle of the organization. So that is who we are. And that's why when we look for talent, they really need to have the same values that we do, because otherwise we cannot work together. And stronger, if they have the same values, I can toss them the key and let them run the property, which is exactly what happens here. So your earlier question, what happens when you walk in? I come home. But it is, I'm welcome with a smile, and I don't have to do anything other than if I want to do or participate.
Right.
But it is their place, it's not mine.
Yeah. Away from the brand, Michael, and away from citizenM, I know that you've been around the industry and have a lot of experience. So I wanted to have...
Is that another way for saying I'm old?
I did not say that. I wanted to hear your opinion on how the industry has developed, in your opinion, because you've seen it come from, the baby boomer target generation, and now all of a sudden there's a new generation of whatever you want to call them, millennials or Gen X, Y, Z, I don't know. Anyways, the point being, there's been some development, and I wanted to hear how you've seen the last couple of years, and also how does COVID fit into that development? Did it speed it up? Has it created a new possibility for the hospitality industry?
Yes. Look, we evolve just like everything. Maybe not with the right speed, but we do evolve.
Yeah.
And I do believe that people say never waste a good crisis, right? And take advantage of it. And that's true also. Over the past year and a half, when business was just flat on its ass, we focused on what is it that we need to be once things start back up. So digital technology, what do we need to do? ESG, obviously, the environmental, social governance. So there's a lot of things that we can do as an industry and become better at. So that focus is there. But we're a capital-intensive industry. And in great and good times, we at best can barely make everything work and pay for upgrades, for capital investment and everything. Pandemics are devastating, and it will take us, again, a decade or better to get out of this financially. And that leaves a big trace. So if you see some digital advancement, that's just candy for the eye, but it is not necessarily the core of most organizations. So I see that we will have a battle to straighten back out our finances. And as such, we need to be very picky. And we in hotel land believe we need to do everything for everybody and pay for it, which is not the case. Yeah. We need to be able to say no, focus, and concentrate. So the pandemic will help because, unfortunately, the ones that were weaker or did not have a structured organization are taken out. Yeah. Recapitalization will help in advancing everything. There's a better focus, and that focus is what we discussed is needed in order to do it. We are bringing in people from other industries with specializations to help us. We understand that technology needs to get us there. But then we start running into, giving an example, technology. Everybody talks about digital and technology. Okay, we're all caught in PMS technology, where PMS is not a good connector. Their functionality was, inventory and administration, but not connector. And they have become the connector, and they're not connecting. So we now need to look at platforms. We need to look at middleware that helps us propel into providing a great digital conversation, so that we, like Google or Amazon, can do a suggestive conversation, or like Booking or Airbnb can do. Yeah. So yes, it will move us forward faster, but it is catching up. We're not in the lead.
When we talk about those companies that you just said, the Googles and the Airbnbs and the Booking.coms, that, you know, in one way or another have kept the industry on their heels and have forced us to look forward. Do you think that, frankly put, are you as scared as some of the other people that these supposed tech giants are a threat to the industry, or what's your opinion on this? Is there a chance of partnership, or do they always have a second angle in the background running for them?
Well, I think just sheer size
is the angle.
Is the answer.
Yeah.
But I think there's something that we as an industry need to take a close look at. When I mentioned culture, people, and process earlier, that for me is very indicative for our industry. So if you look at process, 99.9% of hotel companies are run the traditional way in a hierarchy. So it's a pyramid hierarchy, and it's top down. So the top has an idea, and it will go all the way down, hopefully, till like, okay. So there's a few that have done an inverse pyramid and said sort of my line staff is the most important, the rest of the organization supports up, which we did in our operational side. But for our centralized support office, where we have all the specialization and where we run the company, other than guest contact, we there work more with holacracy. So it's not a strict hierarchy. And if you look at all the successful companies, if you look at the most tech companies, but the Amazons and those alike, all work with holacracy. And the holacracy allows them to be in circles of specialization, and that process is quite different. So if you then take the importance of culture and the people, and you connect that with process, and you do all three together, and you are with intent running your organization structurally different, then all of a sudden you don't see that threat or that competitiveness out there. You get confidence because everybody participates in the process and the productivity goes up.
Right.
And I think that that's what we have experienced over the last years, and especially during the pandemic. People at home are more dedicated than if they would be at the office. They say, I don't have my travel time, I can do some extra work, or they dive in. So it's a whole different world. And I think that we need to look at process. We need to look at specialization. And we need to look at how we can be better at really having the right cultures created by values and where people can feel part of. And that is what, as an industry, we need to focus on.
When you say feel part of, before we started the recording, you said a thing or two about your involvement with hospitality schools, and that you, when you go to speak to them, that you try and demonstrate that you're one of them. How good are we at the whole talent aspect of things, Michael? You've been to the hospitality industry, to the hospitality schools. You've been to a variety of them, as I've heard. Give me your take on some of the experiences you've made with those students, and how you feel we're doing in terms of curing talent and keeping talent, especially in a time like COVID, where I think we can all agree it's never been more difficult to find some people for certain jobs, certainly.
Well, first of all, we're not finding people mostly because, as an industry, we're not the sexiest thing on earth.
Agreed.
I mean, we underpay, we overwork people, and we're not strong in our processes, as mentioned before. Secondly, I think that if you look at hotel schools, a lot of the hotel schools are afraid that people are not going into the hotel business,
and rightly so.
Because right or not, because I believe we educate for hospitality.
Agreed.
And hospitality lives also in banking, lives also in other verticals. Yeah. So we should be more proud in exporting hospitality, which we're very talented and good at, and maybe get some technology people from the fields that we need and import them into our hotel business. So I think that we need to take a little bit of a wider approach, that where there is specialization that we need help with in particular areas, let's import them. But equally, let's then export that hospitality that we're seemingly so good in and help other industries with that. And that will sort of balance out and make our industry again attractive.
Yeah.
Sexy.
Very good.
Which is declining, unfortunately.
Yeah. Michael, let's go back to citizenM for a second. Tell me, at the very beginning of citizenM, there must have been some people that told Citizen Michael, "You are goddamn crazy, sir."
Well, they could have been right, for all I know.
Yeah.
But yes, everybody. I mean, when we, in the early stages, told people what we were doing, they didn't lock us up or put us in a straitjacket. But short of that, they told us we were very stupid.
Yeah.
Those same people, thank God today, say, listen, we immediately saw what you were working at. And, we had that same vision and, so happy for you. So, but I think that what if you would look at what I think we have seen as a company and our growth as a company is that everybody feels part of the success. Everybody feels included in the success. And I can only attest to it that everybody has contributed to that success. So it's not one or two people. It's really a collective.
Yeah.
And even people that move on beyond citizenM, which I have no reason why you want to do that, but it happens.
Shout out to the HR department.
But I think that, you still get mails from, from wherever in the world,
Former
citizen
colleagues.
so-and-so checking in, how you guys, or so you open XYZ, how cool it. People stay involved one way or the other. And I think that is the biggest compliment you can get as a brand or as an organization is that you not only get service from people that goes to work at, towards your organization, but you represent something in their life for the rest of their lives as well.
Yeah. Michael, spill the beans a little bit for me here. Give me one moment in the life of citizenM where you thought, what the hell just happened? There must have been, there must have been a lot of those, but give me one specific moment that you can remember where you sat there and your jaw dropped and you just thought, huh? What just happened? Positive or negative? I'll take both.
Well, I will give a positive and a negative.
Okay, let's go. Yep, sounds good.
Sometimes you're under circumstances where you deal with individuals that have a different frequency because of whatever,
Yeah.
And it can be challenging.
Okay.
But it is always mind-boggling for me to see how the team genuinely reacts to that and how naturally they pick that up. And we've seen it in very negative, where you really have to step in and take charge, because in the end, people trust their lives and close their eyes at night. And we got to make sure that everything is safe and secure, and that we adhere to all the, the promises that we give on sanitation, on safety, and everything. On the positive side, you see so many incredible reactions and so many. We call it random acts of kindness. So we have our ambassadors that we encourage to do random acts of kindness. And then what comes back is like mind-blowing. I mean, it is emotional, it is touching, it is remarkable. Yeah. And it's something that is not associated necessarily with buying a night sleep. Yeah. So the two have nothing to do with each other. So that's why I say traditionally we sell a night of sleep, but we do something completely different.
Something more, Michael, I have to ask one thing. Being German, can we get a citizenM in Germany? Is that can we work on that? How much beer do I need to?
Well, send us the beer first, and we'll let you know.
Okay.
No, I think that we have looked at it. Look, Germany is an incredible market. Yeah. We have definitely looked in Berlin, in Hamburg, in Frankfurt, in Munich. And sometimes the stars are aligned, and sometimes they're not. And for various reasons, till today, they have not been aligned. But we are eager to get into Germany as well, of course. So it's not by intent. It's just by. I
just wanted to make sure on that one. Yeah.
It's just sometimes those things happen, and you have to realize also that as we are so capital intensive and we can only spend our euro like everybody else wants, you really want to look at the right location that has the best possible road to success and return on investment. So that's how we look at it.
So the reason that I obviously asked with intent, because I wanted to talk to you a little bit about markets and a little bit about the development side of things. What's a citizenM site? What does a site have to have? And I'm sure from the hundreds of sites you've seen or were presented, there's some sites where you've walked in and you said, "Yep, straight up, this is it. And there must have been some sites where you thought there's not a chance in hell that this is going to be a citizenM.
Yeah, we had a few of those.
Okay.
I think that the citizenM site is, first of all, in a metropole. So you will not find us in a small, provincial village city. Just our the frequent traveler might go there, but they live in the metropoles. Secondly, I think that predominantly people will have business as part of their purpose.
Yeah.
And as such, we need to be well positioned or well connected to the central business districts. And because business and leisure go hand in hand, you want to sit also on the X towards the city center, the cultural center, the activity.
Yeah.
So you will find citizenMs usually hugging closer to the CBDs, the central business districts, but be on a straight line towards the core. And if it's combinable, even better.
Okay.
And you will find citizenMs in upcoming cool markets, environments that are basically where those mobile citizens live.
Yeah.
And we will try to stay away from the overly commercialized or the boring parts of a city where it's really office parks or those type of things. That's not our thing, unless it's like a Facebook. A Facebook campus, of course, is a whole different world. And anyway, the whole Palo Alto area there, it's all small and connected. But I think that you will find us where the activity sits.
Give me an example of a site that we can talk about, or that's already been there for a while, where you walked in and you knew straight off the bat that was going to be a citizenM.
Well, we will open up later this year a hotel in San Francisco.
Okay.
And it sits between Union Square and Market. And it looks at the cable car turnaround.
Okay.
And if there's one spot that you want to identify as the core of the city, it will be where we're at. So that's one of those spots where you go like, really?
Yeah.
We're opening up there.
It's
so it's very exciting. But there's many great places that we have our hotels. And
but San Francisco was really one where the first time you went there, you knew, or anybody could have gone, I guess, and would have known.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
home run.
It's like you stand there, you don't need any subtitles on that one. No, but there's many citizenM sites that are really great locations, and there are a few that have become great locations as well. So it's exciting. But there's a few of those locations indeed that you go like, my God, how privileged are we to be here?
Okay. Michael, I have a personal story for you. When the first time I stayed at a citizenM was in Paris, the one in Paris and close to La Défense.
Yep.
And I had read about citizenM, but not really been in touch with the concept. And I walked in, and you kind of have to take an escalator up and so on and so forth, and you walk to the kiosk. And this was 2000 and maybe at least 3 or 4 years ago. So we're talking a couple years ago. And I checked in, and there was a lady next to me, an elderly lady, and I will never forget this because it just stuck with me. And she said, this is all very technology based. Is there somebody for me to check in with in person? And straight away, one of your ambassadors, sure enough, showed up and said, sure, let me take you. How difficult was it to bridge that, or how difficult is it to bridge that gap between, with all due respect, people my age who are, in their late 20s, early 30s, who will gladly use the kiosk and it'll all be fun and games, and those people who might not be that invested into technology? Or is that something where you quite simply say, we're more interested in a target group that identifies with technology?
No, I think first of all, age is an attitude as well, right? So there's many people. My mother of 86 cannot choose between her smartphone, her iPad, or her computer, or what. I mean, so
whole different world.
Yeah. So I think that still there are people that see technology or feel young at heart and live differently. But there's also people that walk in and they can be very young and they go like, Jesus, how do I use an app and I don't want to give it real estate, or I don't want to download it on my phone? Yeah. How do I use technology or in-room and iPad? What do I do with it? Can I not close the curtains the traditional way? Yeah. So we believe that there needs to be always choices.
Okay.
So, like you saw with the elderly lady at La Défense, our teams will immediately move in and help out and make them feel comfortable. In the room, there's always a switch as well.
Okay.
So for 90% of the functionality, there's
a magic switch
that will do the job. But I think that people evolve, and what we have seen frequently is that people come to the hotel and they sort of look around and they go like, oops, this is not what I expected. And they get a little weary. Is this for me?
Yeah.
And usually we tell them is, listen, why don't you just settle in and get comfortable? And if it works, it works. And if not, we help you find something. Mm-hmm. And just that, easiness about, making them feel comfortable, they usually become our raving fans. And have you seen this? And have you tried out? Yeah, we created it. We know about it. But that's cool. It's nice to see.
Good. If we look at the development that you've taken, the path that has been written, the pipeline that is going to be opened over the next couple of weeks or months and years, what stage is citizenM at right now, Michael?
Well, I think we have gone from a small chain to sort of mid-size.
Yeah.
And
how many properties at the moment, if I may ask?
So at the end of the year, we will break the 30.
Okay.
And we still have pipeline, so we will be, with the total projects, 45, 46 properties.
Okay.
So we're growing, and with that, we're going from a startup to a small company to a mid-sized company.
Yeah.
And that brings its challenges to make sure that the culture stays alive, that we're all focused on the same thing, that processes are crisp and good and smart, and that you can sustain that growth. But we have great example companies, and we have great teams that really focus at that, and we're getting better and better at it. So we're in the stage of growing to a mid-sized company. And it has been quite a ride, because
I imagine so.
Since 2008, when we opened our first hotel, and a couple of years prior to that, so it has been a beautiful ride so far.
If there was, and the answer doesn't have to be Germany, I will say that right away. If there was one destination in the world where you could pick, where you are not yet. So the answer cannot be another house in Amsterdam or another hotel in Paris, because that's too easy, Michael. There has to be some, and I mean, you're not going to say Palma because that's not really your target world. But give me a wish list of a property where you would say,
well, there are those incredible cities, right? So,
like,
I mean, if you give us tomorrow a Hong Kong and a Singapore opportunity,
you'll say yes, right?
We will dive in head forward.
Yeah.
But there is also in Europe, and there's also in the US locations that I think that still can have citizenMs and do real well. And that's where our focus has been: Europe, US, and a little bit the Far East. And it's very difficult with focus to have your organization grow. That's why you will see multiple hotels in one city, because you start to learn and get to know, and it manages easier, builds all those benefits,
synergies and everything. Yeah.
So the synergies are important for us. But there is definitely, either from the company or from us individually, there's a couple of spots that we go like, that would be wonderful.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. Okay. What is it with the expansion? If we look at it, and you've said Europe and the US was the focus, and one or two in the Far East. Give me your thoughts on the Far East, because I've heard some very interesting stories there that the boom of the Far East is supposedly over, and that the truth now lies in Europe again because the travel restrictions and so on and so forth. What's your take on that?
No, I think that people that say that the boom is over there,
they haven't been there recently. Yeah,
they need to check into to a hospital and have themselves checked out. Yeah. Now, I think that for every company, there is a different possibility in a part of the world. So we're an owner-operator. So that comes with real estate.
Right.
Well, you cannot know or be local everywhere.
Right.
So when you invest in real estate, you want to be local. You want to understand what's going on. So by virtue of that, the Far East is more difficult for us.
Sure.
And also the type of climate to invest is different. There's a whole different set of rules. As such, it's sometimes difficult to grow in a part of the world and easier in others. Opportunity as well, space and size. There are cities with cavities. There are cities that are, you really need to constantly look for opportunities.
Make sure you know to miss out. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that growth has focus, and we're very focused. But it has also a little bit luck and opportunity that comes with it, that you can grow in the direction that you want. But we have been very intentional in where we are today, and I think we've been very fortunate so far.
Yeah. Michael, just like that, 45 minutes have passed. So this was a breath of fresh air. I have two quick questions for the end. Thank you for your time, first and foremost. In an ideal world, 3 or 4 years from now, when we do this again, what's the situation at citizenM? We've opened a couple more properties. We've stayed true to our values. Is that from what I've heard from the last couple of minutes, that's something that's very, very important to you, is staying true to what you guys are?
Yeah, I think that as you become a larger organization and more constituencies grow with you and become dependent on you, you need to show stability. And stability can only be obtained by remaining who you are, becoming better at what you do, and being true to yourself. So that is something that we're focusing on very much. We never said we need 50 or 100 or 150 properties. We just feel very lucky that we're growing and have the success that we are experiencing. But I do believe that there is a lot of opportunity out there still. So we like what's going on. So we will.
We like the way things are going.
So you will see us very active, trying to grow. But I think also we want to stay very close to who we are and be humble with participating in their industry, being an example, participating. And, stay humble and stay who we are. Yeah.
The final question, Michael, because again, I was told to ask, so I do what I'm told here. So there you are. Your favorite hospitality experience of all time, someone like you who's traveled the world back, forth, up, down, and east and west. Give me your personal favorite. It doesn't necessarily have to be from the hotel world. It can be from other parts of hospitality. But you must have a story for me at the end where you thought that really, even for me who's been around for a while and seen a lot of different types of services.
So I was traveling when the ash cloud hit.
Okay.
And I checked into a hotel and I was registered as an American. And it was amazing because when I arrived at the hotel, which was like later in the afternoon, unfortunately, the planes had gone into the various buildings and, it was really bad.
Terrible, yeah.
At the hotel when I arrived, the first thing they said is, can we connect you with your family? Are you okay?
Wow, okay.
Not, do you want to check in? Do you have a reservation? Anything. Right. And from that moment on, the whole focus was on me as an individual. And we're like, wow, that is pretty cool. Yeah. And we have had it ourselves when, the ash cloud hit or when, unfortunately, the bad happens to people while they're staying at you, whether there's a death in the family or there's something happening or, somebody gets injured or whatever it is. Yeah. To see people gravitate to that human level of connecting at a human level, that for me is the real core, because not everybody can do that. So organizations that are not, built on the right values cannot act then, because it becomes mechanical, becomes scripted. And those that are built up from the right values, it goes natural. And that is a huge difference. So that I would say is for me. For me, that was incredible.
So the 9/11 obviously is what we're talking about. Tell me, Michael, do you mind sharing where this was? Just the destination, not the property.
It was in London.
In London.
Yeah. And in a spot where you would not necessarily expect it. It was mesmerizing for me, and I've seen it many times over. Obviously, I've been around a few days in this industry.
Sure. But you're not old. We're just to put it out there.
Not old at all.
Not old. Yeah, okay.
But I think that what makes the difference in providing hospitality the right way is a human contact.
Is a moment like
that. And that basic human contact when you need it, good or bad, that's what makes the difference. So that's
a
what I've
touching
tried
story.
to build my career on.
I will say that. Michael, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time.
Sure.
All the best. Take care.
Thank you.
That's it for this episode, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to share your thoughts on this episode and everything else that is going on at Smack with us by checking out our website at smack.media or connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Instagram. We'll see you next time.
Hi there, and congrats, you've made it to the end of our video. If you'd like to stay on top of what's happening at Smack, subscribe to our channels below and follow us on our social media. Thanks, and see you soon.